There's a jar of it in your fridge right now. You've used it 1,000 times. But have you ever once asked what it's actually doing to you? For years, the world was split. One side said, burn it, cut it out, replace it with something safer. The other side said, bring it back, real food, real fat, the way your grandmother made it. Then a new study landed in 2026, and it didn't take sides. It exposed something far more unsettling. Because butter was never simply good or bad. It's a mirror. It reflects exactly how you use it. Done wrong, it quietly stresses your heart, clouds your energy, and ages you faster than you'd like to admit. Done right, it becomes one of the most misunderstood foods on your plate. The line between the two, thinner than a single spoonful. Today, you'll learn exactly what that new study found, and the 4 precise ways to eat butter that flip it from risk into reward. Ways almost nobody follows correctly. Not your parents, not your doctor, maybe not even you. So stay till the end, because way number 3 is the one people get wrong the most, and once you hear why, you'll never look at your fridge the same way again. Research 1. Butter isn't bad. This is. Your frying pan might be turning breakfast into a quiet disaster, and butter is taking the blame for it. For years, butter has been treated like the villain, the yellow block, the guilty pleasure, the thing people point at when they want one simple answer for every health problem. But real life doesn't work like that. Butter is not some instant poison. It is food. Rich, traditional, powerful food. And like most powerful things, the damage usually comes from how people use it. Here's the part most people never hear. Butter is mostly fat, but it is not only fat. Typical butter is a water in oil emulsion with a little water and milk solids still inside it. That matters, because the moment that butter hits a pan that is too hot, those fragile milk solids start burning fast. The flavor turns nutty for a second, then bitter. The aroma goes from comforting to harsh. And suddenly the same butter people love on toast is smoking in the kitchen like it has been set up to fail. That is the mistake. People use butter like a high heat oil. It isn't. Regular butter starts burning around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Clarified butter or ghee can handle much more heat because the milk solids and water are removed. So when someone throws normal butter into a screaming hot pan for frying or searing, they are not cooking better. They are destroying the very thing they wanted from it in the first place. And health-wise, the bigger picture matters too. 1 tablespoon of butter gives you about 102 calories and roughly 7 grams of saturated fat. That does not mean 1 spoon will ruin your body, but it does mean the small habits add up fast. A little on toast, a little in the pan, a little on vegetables, a little in baking, a little in coffee. By the end of the day, just a little can become a lot. That is why global and heart health guidance keeps telling people to limit saturated fat overall, not panic over 1 single bite. And in a large 2025 cohort study, researchers observed that people eating more butter over time had higher total and cancer mortality, while higher plant oil intake was linked with lower mortality. Even replacing a small daily amount of butter with plant oils was associated with lower risk. So no, butter is not the full villain, but the fantasy around butter can be dangerous. The fantasy says natural means harmless. The fantasy says homemade means unlimited. The fantasy says if it tastes rich, it must be fine in every quantity, at every temperature, in every meal. That fantasy is where the real problem begins. Use butter for flavor. Use it with control. Use it on lower heat. Finish with it when you want richness. Respect the portion. And if you want high heat, use clarified butter or a better suited oil. Because the truth is simple, butter is not bad just because it is butter. The danger begins when habit becomes excess, and when heat turns comfort into damage. Stop blaming the ingredient for everything. Look at the pan, look at the portion, look at the pattern. That is where the real story has been hiding the whole time. And once you see it, butter stops looking scary and starts looking like it really is. Something small that can help a meal or wreck a routine. Research 2 to 4 better butter habits for everyday cooking. Your butter isn't cooking, it's running a silent side quest on your arteries. And the scary part is, most people don't even notice it, because butter does not look dangerous. It looks innocent, golden, soft, comforting. The kind of thing your grandmother used without fear. But here is the catch. Butter becomes risky when it stops being a flavor and becomes a habit. A spoon in the pan, a spoon on the bread, a spoon in the sauce. A spoon because it's homemade, and slowly that tiny golden habit starts stacking up. So the goal is not to panic. The goal is to use butter smarter. Habit number 1. Don't use butter as the main cooking fat every single time. Use it like a finishing touch. A small amount at the end can give food that rich, glossy, restaurant-style taste without drowning the whole meal in it. Habit number 2. Control the heat. Butter is not built for punishment. When the pan is too hot, butter burns fast. The smell changes, the color darkens, and that beautiful creamy taste turns bitter. So keep the heat lower, or add butter later when the food is almost done. Habit number 3. Respect the portion. Because the problem is rarely one bite. The problem is the daily repeat. A little today, a little tomorrow, a little every meal. That is how comfort turns into routine. And routine is where health quietly changes. Habit number 4. Balance it. Some meals can use olive oil. Some meals can use ghee for higher heat. Some meals don't need extra fat at all. Butter should not be the king of every plate. It should be one tool in the kitchen, not the whole personality of the meal. And now comes the real catch. Saturated fat. Butter is naturally high in it. That does not mean butter is poison, but it does mean your body keeps score, especially if your diet already has cheese, fried food, cream, processed snacks, and heavy meat. Then butter is no longer alone. It becomes part of a bigger pattern, and that pattern matters. So don't fear butter. Fear using it blindly. Fear turning every meal into a just one more spoon moment. Because the smartest people don't remove flavor from life. They learn control. They use butter where it matters. They skip it where it doesn't. They enjoy the taste without letting the habit take over. Butter is not the enemy, but unlimited butter, that is where the story changes. Research 3. Your healthy butter habit could backfire. Your healthy butter routine might be doing side quests against your heart. That sounds dramatic, but stay with me. Because this is where butter becomes tricky. Not because one small piece of butter is going to destroy your body. No, the real problem begins when people start treating butter like a health badge. A little on toast, a little in eggs, a little in coffee, a little on vegetables, a little in rice, a little in every single pan. And somehow, the whole day becomes butter flavored. That is the part nobody calculates. Because when something feels natural, when it feels traditional, when it feels homemade, people stop questioning the amount. They think, it's real food, so it must be fine. But your heart does not care about marketing. Your arteries do not care if the butter came from a farm. Your body only sees the pattern, the repetition, the daily load. Butter is rich. Butter is heavy. Butter is mostly fat. And yes, it contains saturated fat. That does not mean you need to panic, but it does mean you need to pay attention. Because heart health is not usually damaged by one dramatic meal. It is shaped quietly by the small choices that keep repeating, day after day, week after week, year after year. That is why your healthy butter habit can backfire. Not because butter is evil, but because too much of a rich food can slowly become a silent routine. And the most dangerous routines are the ones that feel normal. The spoon you stop measuring, the extra spread you stop noticing, the pan you coat without thinking, the food you call clean while ignoring the quantity. That is where the warning lives. So check your butter. Check how often you use it. Check how much goes into the pan. Check whether it is there for flavor or whether it has become the main character of every meal. Because the correct way to eat butter is not with fear, it is with control. Use it for taste. Use it in small amounts. Use it where it actually matters. And when your meal already has cheese, meat, cream, or fried food, maybe butter does not need to join the party too. This is not about removing joy from food. This is about protecting your future self. Because the heart does not send loud warnings at the beginning. It whispers. And smart people listen before the whisper becomes a siren. So don't worship butter. Don't fear it. Respect it. Because the same butter that can make food beautiful can also become a problem when habit takes over. Research 4. Before you eat more butter, watch this. Your toast is smiling, but your arteries might be filing a complaint. Before you eat more butter, pause for 1 second, because the problem is not always the butter sitting on your plate. Sometimes the problem is the way it sneaks into your day. A little on bread, a little in the pan, a little on potatoes, a little in pasta, a little in eggs, and suddenly just a little butter has turned into a full-time relationship. That is where the danger begins. Butter is rich. Butter is emotional. Butter makes food taste like comfort. It turns dry toast into breakfast. It turns vegetables into something people actually want to eat. It turns a simple meal into something warm, golden, and satisfying. But that is exactly why people underestimate it. Because butter does not feel dangerous. It feels familiar. It feels homemade. It feels like childhood. And the most dangerous habits are usually the ones that feel normal. 1 tablespoon does not look scary. It looks tiny. But that tiny spoon carries calories, saturated fat, and heaviness your body still has to process. Now imagine that spoon repeating itself every day, morning after morning, meal after meal, year after year. That is not a snack anymore. That is a pattern. And your body remembers patterns. Not excuses, not cravings, not "I only used a little." Your body remembers what you keep doing. This is why butter should never be treated like free flavor. It is not something you throw everywhere just because the food tastes better. It needs timing. It needs control. It needs respect. Use it to finish a dish. Use it in small amounts. Use it where it actually matters. But do not let it become the invisible ingredient hiding inside every meal. Because the real trap is not one bite. The real trap is repetition. People fear sugar. People fear fried food. People fear fast food. But they forget the quiet things. The things sitting in the fridge, the things used without thinking, the things added because my family always did it this way. That is where butter becomes dangerous, not as a monster, but as a habit wearing a friendly face. So before you eat more butter, ask yourself one thing. Am I using this for flavor, or am I using it because I do not know how to stop? Because food should comfort you, not control you. And the moment you understand that difference, butter stops being a guilty pleasure and becomes a choice. A small choice. A powerful choice. A choice that can either protect your routine or quietly destroy it. So now the real question is not, should I quit butter forever? The real question is, am I using it with control, or am I letting a tiny golden habit control me? Because butter is not the monster hiding in your fridge. The real danger is repetition. The spoon you stop measuring. The heat you stop checking. The habit you stop questioning. And that is why food choices are never just about one meal. They are about the pattern you build when nobody is watching. So before you spread butter again, before you drop it into another pan, before you call it just a little one more time, pause. Look at the portion. Look at the heat. Look at the full plate. Because the smartest way to eat butter is not with fear, it is with awareness. Now I want to ask you something. Be honest in the comments. How do you use butter the most? On bread, in cooking, in eggs, in coffee? Or do you think butter has been blamed too much? Comment your answer below, because your daily habit might be the exact thing someone else needs to rethink. And if this video made you look at butter differently, then don't ignore that feeling. Subscribe for more food truth, health habits, and hidden mistakes sitting inside your kitchen. Because sometimes the most dangerous things don't look dangerous at all. They look familiar. They taste comforting, and they sit quietly right inside your fridge.